Hey guys, today we'll be talking about Plato's philosophy, but in a form of a card game. So, my name is Danila and I study dead languages, Latin and ancient Greek, and I studied them for over 3 years. And now I'm just happy to finally talk about about the text I love with you guys. So, we start this game as a Plato. Not too bad, right? Plato is, and we started as a multi-class because Plato, before he turned to philosophy, he was a poet and a wrestler. So we are like a fighter and a bard, I guess. And but then something clicks, yeah, something happens, and then Plato meets Socrates. He starts to do in philosophy, and he abandons poems. He burns down his poems, and here we begin our journey. In this little game, you will know about the most important philosophers that influenced Plato and the most important things about theory of forms, the biggest invention of Plato that influences our world to this day. So, the first biggest point about the first most important topic about theory of forms is that it was not created solely by Plato. He was influenced by different philosophers, and they are like insane. They're just really good. Their texts are beautiful. And here is our first philosopher. Meet Heraclitus. Whoops. Yep, here is Heraclitus. So, just bear in mind that this is a bit of a metaphorical journey. Plato couldn't meet Heraclitus or Parmenides in real life, but still, these philosophers influenced them. So, first of them was Heraclitus, the second is Parmenides, and some of the other philosophers are Pythagoras and Sophists. And they all influenced Plato pretty heavily. So now we will find out how. And this was something like a battle, because here is Plato, and he has, but we, at the start of this game, we already have some cards, we burned down our poems, and now what is left is a quest for knowledge. So here is our card. And these cards, guys, I generated them solely for the purpose of this video. I photoshopped and edited them, and put a lot of into them, despite them being generated. So here is the knowledge, and I depicted it as Athena, yeah, a goddess of wisdom, and this is the first most important thing about theory of forms of Plato. It was not developed just to flex, just these are forms, this is the other world, this is some new idea. No, there was a question burning in the soul of Plato, and this question was, what is knowledge? Yeah, you can see this Athena. What is knowledge? How is the second one was how knowledge possible, and the third one also very important, and it's connected with knowledge, but it's a bit different, and it's understanding. And you can see Hermes here. Hermes is the god of language, so understanding is kind of his deal. And we start this game with basically these two cards. One is Athena, which symbolizes knowledge and Plato's search for knowledge, and the second is understanding. So Plato is concerned, how can we understand each other? Yeah. And it's not such an easy question. And most importantly, it's very crucial nowadays, because still sometimes you can't understand like what's your friend talking about. Sometimes you can understand your girlfriend or boyfriend, and Plato gives us this tool to just understand people better. And to be able to research things better, to understand what is knowledge and how to use it. So we start this game with two cards, and we meet Heraclitus, and he has a much stronger card. That's the problem. So let's put Heraclitus a bit here, and here is his card. Padam, it's becoming. What does this mean? What the fuck is becoming? So becoming Heraclitus, he has this theory of flux, so-called. The point is that everything is constantly changing, and you might also hear this famous quotation by Heraclitus, his famous fragment that you cannot step twice into one river. Everything is constantly changing. Everything is a flux. River turns into clouds. Clouds turn into rain. So it's always changing. There is nothing fixed in this world. So and this is our first boss. What shall we do about it? Because we have these two nice cards, and they are completely negated by this world of becoming of Heraclitus. Why, you might ask? Because how can we know anything if the world is constantly changing, if the world is constantly becoming? For Plato, knowledge is only possible if there is something fixed. And in this world where nothing is certain, nothing is constant, nothing is knowledge. Plato's knowledge is not possible. We cannot understand each other. Imagine I'm talking to you guys, and you can't. And the words are changing while I'm speaking. You won't even be able to understand me, or anybody else. So Plato is dissatisfied with this view, but at the start of this journey, he is defeated by it. So we kind of lose this battle, but we also take something from this. And this is idea of the world of becoming. That, the world that we see, the world that we perceive through our senses, through the touch, through the smell, mouth, eyes, this is the world of becoming. But maybe there are some other areas where this law of change doesn't apply. So the arguments of Heraclitus, they kind of crush Plato, and he probably felt defeated at some point, but now we also took something from it. And I wanted to, important thing is that this is a metaphorical journey, okay? So Plato couldn't meet Heraclitus, he couldn't meet some other philosophers, just because they lived in separate times. But it reflects the way Plato was thinking about it. It reflects his process of thinking. And here with you, we're recreating theory of forms. We follow in Plato's footsteps, and this will help you understand theory of forms greatly. So now we have 3 cards and one boss who sadly defeated us. And the next person we meet is Parmenides. Yup, here it is. Here he is. And you can see some important attributes of Parmenides. First is the chariot, because in the text that is left from Parmenides, he describes himself as a rider of this chariot. He rides on this chariot and he meets a goddess. What goddess, you might ask? It's a goddess of truth, Alethe. So this goddess, she tells them that there are basically 2 ways. There is a way of opinion, and there is a way of knowledge and truth. And she reveals to Parmenides that the world is just this sphere, this metaphorical sphere, of course, that the world, there is no change. Change is illusion, motion is illusion, that any plurality is basically an illusion. And the arguments of Parmenides are really great. You can check them out. You can just read on Wikipedia, or you can just Google, watch some videos. They are great. But I just don't have time to recreate his entire thought process in this video. But that's basically his idea, that all this flux theory of Parmenides it's just an illusion. That nothing can change. There is only being. Eternal, that can't move, can't change. Only this one thing. And here Plato, we might try to negate this using the same argument about the world of becoming of Heraclitus. Let's see, but unfortunately, being is much stronger. And we can try to defeat this idea of just one motionless being with no limits, no nothing. We can try to defeat it with the world of becoming, but unfortunately, the arguments of Parmenides are just too strong. So our card goes down. What's next? We can say, wait, Parmenides, knowledge is not possible in this world. There is just one thing. And Parmenides say, yup, there is only one thing. Knowledge goes also under this being. The only knowledge possible is probably to be just this one eternal being. And again, it's usually depicted as round, but of course it doesn't have any shape, doesn't have any limits. The only thing that exists is being. And all the plurality we see is an illusion. That's the main theory of Parmenides. And the poem is also great. I recommend you to read it. So our cards just don't work on Parmenides' theory. And again, we suffer a terrible loss. We crawl back, we regroup, we collect back our cards, and we also find a new card among them. And this card is, well, being. Let's just take it. We can use it in order to argue with other philosophers. So now we are defeated by Parmenides, by Heraclitus, and now it seems like everything is just lost. But here is where it all started. And here is the birth of theory of forms. And here goes the second important point about theory of forms of Plato. First, that it wasn't developed in a vacuum. Plato was influenced by Heraclitus, by Parmenides, by Pythagoras, by sophists. And the second is that it was developed for a purpose, to answer those questions. What is knowledge? How is it possible? What is understanding? But now looks like we're failing. All we have is this question. We're left with knowledge, we're left with understanding, and Plato decides, well, let's focus on something else. We tried this one, didn't work. Try that one, it didn't work. So what's now? Let's combine world of becoming, the theory of Heraclitus, with the theory of Parmenides. Let's just fuse them, like in this game about alchemy. And what do you think we'll get? Well, let's see. We get a new card, guys. So in this game, we can also craft some cards. We merge world of becoming with being, and what we get is finally the theory of forms. Theory of forms. There it is. What we get is the theory of forms, and it combines the ideas of Parmenides about eternal beings and the ideas of Heraclitus. But what is theory of forms? So it's the theory. So what are forms? Okay, forms are abstract objects that are the source of our knowledge, that give meanings to the words. An example of form is like 4, number 4. Yep, you can see that it's 4, it's not in my fingers. It's not, it's probably, it is in my brain, but probably looks like not only there. So 4 is one example of forms and all the numbers. The other example is geometrical figures like spheres. And there are many more examples, like in biology, Homo sapiens also would be something like a Plato's idea. Of course, not exactly, but it is the development of Plato's theory of forms. So now we have this new card that is absolutely busted. We can destroy everyone with this theory of forms. It stays, we kind of solved our problems, because now, how is knowledge possible? Well, bear with me for a second. Yes, how is knowledge possible? Well, look, we have forms. We don't know particular objects. We can know this flux, yes, this ever-changing world, but we can know numbers. We can know numbers, we can know math, we can know species in biology. So there are some laws of the universe and we can study them, we can learn them. So there are some fixed points for Plato in this ever-changing world. So forms answer for us this question. And how is understanding possible? How can you understand me? How do words have meaning? Well, forms cover that. Because look, here is our understanding. Whoops. One moment, sorry. Understanding here. And look, it is entirely covered by forms and by forms. Because when we understand a word, we don't understand like letters. We understand the meaning, and the meaning of a word is also something like an abstract object for Plato. So when Plato searches for meaning, when he asks what is goodness, what is justice, and so on and so forth, he searches for ideas, for forms, for meanings. And this theory, it's kind of solved all the problems that were haunting Plato. So now our game is ending. We found the theory that explains this, and the final important thing about theory of forms. Let me just leave its understanding and Plato. The final important thing is that it's still alive. It lives to this day. It's still important for physics, for mathematics, because we don't really know what is number. Where does number exist? How does it exist? We still don't really know what is a species in biology and how does it exist, how we operate this species in our thoughts. So this is it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll meet you in the next week. Goodbye.